Hey guys, how's it going? Value Venture Investing here today. So, Tesla, we're talking about Tesla again, and oh my gosh, I never expected in my wildest dreams to see this thing this quickly over 900. The kind of price action we've seen, the volatility in the stock has just been incredible. Taking a look at the stock today, it's down about $150 per share. Which is kind of to be expected when you see a massive run like this, especially just in the last little bit here. We've seen this thing run, 500, 600, 700, 800, over 900, and of course we're down a little bit today. So today what I'm going to be talking about is I'm going to be talking about what's going on, because if you're wondering like what's happening, a lot of people are having this question. What are some of the reasons that this is occurring? So I'm going to give you those reasons, most of the reasons I think why this is happening. My thoughts on where we're at right now, and then I'm going to give you some transparency on the fact that I actually sold some of my Tesla, and I'm going to give you, the exact figures and show you what happened, and then I'm going to give you my closing thoughts. So there's a lot of reasons that have kind of combined into this perfect storm, and it's caused this extreme price increase in Tesla. Obviously, we saw the positive earning results, the positive quarter, and that was my last video. We've seen the Shanghai factory come up, production increase significantly, but I don't think much of this is based on fundamentals. And if you're wondering, is a lot of this based on fundamentals, just go to Google, take a look at this, type in "should I" in Google. This is something I found very interesting today, and look what comes up: should I buy Tesla? This just shows you how many people are looking for this. I don't know if this is something that's going to happen for everybody when they look at Google and type this in. Maybe it's because I'm looking at this stuff and a lot of other people are looking at this stuff, but that right there is an indication of some things that are going on. Some other things that are happening: the Super Bowl, we've seen this huge transition into auto manufacturers pushing electric, and during the Super Bowl we saw ads from Ford with their new Mustang that they recently announced there, Audi, Hummer's even coming out with an electric vehicle now. So we saw these things, and that was creating a lot of hype in electric vehicles. We've also heard the CEO of ARK Invest come out again, basically saying that she thinks this is just the start of it again here. Giving a lot more thoughts on it, although I've always been very dubious of ARK Invest because I didn't really understand when I looked at their numbers how they're calculating the numbers that they are. They just kind of base it upon market cap, not much else fundamentals and percentages they think that they're going to have. And there were some significant issues with the formatting in their spreadsheets as well, and that ended up coming out. And then, of course, CNBC is admitting that they're wrong. They're a big channel, basically saying, well, we don't know where it's going to go. A lot of technical analysts saying, this is off the charts. There's no real, don't short it, but there's real no way to know where it's going to be going. And then, of course, Jim Cramer becoming a huge bull, basically saying that they have, the best execution, everything's going for them, and he's basically saying that he doesn't want to invest in fossil fuels anymore. So all of this has created, in my opinion, a massive short squeeze. If you don't know what shorting is, of course that means that you're betting that the share price is going to go down, and then so you're going to be making money if the stock price goes down, and you're going to be losing money if the stock price goes up. However, what a short squeeze is it's the fact that when you're shorting a stock, you're actually borrowing it from another investor, say in a brokerage, and you're selling it and hoping to buy it back at a lower price than returning that share, and keeping the difference in terms of money. However, brokers are usually have a certain, maintenance requirement that they have, and they might execute something called a margin call if you start going too deep into the red, because you still need to return that share. So that's something that can create a massive short squeeze. And we know, looking at all the numbers and such, that Tesla is one of these companies that just has a huge proportion of its shares outstanding being short. And I think that this is something that's obviously come down. We're seeing a lot of shorts become eviscerated, really. And so we've seen massive amounts of trading volume. I mean, yesterday alone we saw $50 billion change hands. $50 billion. And for a company that has about $130 billion market cap, that is a huge, that's a huge amount of money to be changing hands. And I think a lot of that's retail, as in, not professional investors trading that as well. So this has created a perfect storm in terms of the technicals and the exuberance, the irrational exuberance around this that is way beyond fundamentals. And I think most people understand that at this point. So some of my more specific thoughts on this. Like you guys know, I wasn't the biggest Tesla bull, although I became much bullish. But looking at some of the factors here now, we're looking at Tesla at a market cap of about 130 billion. Yesterday it was about 160 billion. If you're looking at McDonald's, it has 161 billion. So it was basically eclipsing McDonald's yesterday. If you're looking at Nike's about $156 billion today. And of course, if you look at Ford and GM, Ford being a $32 billion market cap and GM being a $50 billion market cap, I mean, it's more than those two combined. And make whatever you want of that, but it's definitely something significant. Taking a look at some of their metrics, like I said, this isn't fundamentally driven, so I like to look at some of the metrics. Revenue, although it was a great quarter, revenue year over year was actually relatively flat. It was up, slightly. And looking at the price to sales, this is something that we looked at before when I was telling you guys that I was buying some, and now it's at about 5.35. That's pretty rich. A Ford PE of 53 times earnings. In terms of the technical side, we're seeing our RSI, in a 5-year time period of over 91. So that would indicate obviously an extremely overbought situation. So all of that coupled with the fact of this extreme price volatility, the volume. I've seen this kind of stuff before. I've never seen anything like this exactly. And something that completely discounts fundamental values, or intrinsic value, if you will, is very dangerous. Now, that's not to say that this thing is not going to go higher. Tomorrow it might spike up again. But of course, in my opinion, in my experience, that's something very dangerous. So then what did I do? That's right, I sold it all. Of course, I made a video before quite some time talking about how I bought into another little position when it dropped down to 195, and I ended up selling that and making a couple $1,000s or something. I don't quite remember, but you can go back and watch my video if you want. But this position was the 10 shares that I actually owned after the 420 tweet that he had, and I bought it in a little bit lower. You can take a look here. As you can see, I've been in and out of Tesla quite a bit over the years. I actually didn't think I had held this last position for as long as I had, because it was late 2018. I bought it with 10 shares, and of course I sold for $900 yesterday, because that was just, in my mind, extremely overvalued price for Tesla, especially where we sit right now. So I made about $5,400, almost $5,500 actually dollars US, and in Canadian, because I'm Canadian dollars, that's about $7,300 that I made for a relatively short period of time. So that's up over 156%. So I'm very happy with that. So again, guys, this is an educational channel. I'm not telling you what to do, but if you are trading it, I would recommend being very careful. If you're a long-term investor, you probably don't care that much if you think that Tesla could be worth thousands of dollars per share. It's certainly possible, I guess, if we see, this sort of transformative transition that Tesla's going to do, and basically, own 80% and every vehicle is going to be electric. As I said before, I don't think that's going to happen. And even if that is going to happen or become somewhat true, it's too far out to have a price that's in the 900s, as far as I'm concerned. And as we know, this irrational exuberance is really driving the market right now. So I'm not going to get too much into the trader mindset. I made a video a while ago about why most traders lose money, or why most investors, if they call themselves trading and investing is two different things, but a lot of investors act like traders as well. So it's easy to get caught up in a lot of these behavioral things, right? So if you can make, usually I'm saying, and if you make 20, 30%, you do that over a long period of time, you're going to have awesome returns. I mean, take a look right now at my account here. I'll blur out the amounts I have. I'm not going to tell you that, guys, right now. This is just my US account, actually. And I made great returns, and that's because you can't get too greedy. I mean, pigs get slaughtered, right? And like I said, if you're long term, then okay, I can see, holding on to it. But I'm very happy to get that kind of return that I got. And if Tesla completely tanks again, below the low levels, I'm not too sure if it's ever going to go that low anytime soon. I might be considering buying again, but definitely now I'm out. And I felt really compelled to make a video to you guys, because I know a lot of people are kind of wondering, like, what is going on? I have a lot of people contacting me like, what's happening? And you might have been interested to know what I was doing as well. So again, just educational information, guys. I'd love to know what you're doing, or if you're still holding on, if you have shares. Love to know if you're a long-term investor, if you're out right now. If you are involved in trading it, be careful, guys. Like I said, be very careful, and I wish everybody the best luck. So that's going to be it for today, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.